All right, we're going to be doing a little bit of science today. So a lot of times here on the channel, I use EvapoRust. It works really well. But a while back, I came across a video where a guy had mixed up this solution, which he claimed worked just as well as EvapoRust, and it was something he could make in his home workshop. It's just basically two chemicals, citric acid and then some sort of soda, whether baking soda or washing soda or caustic soda, and water. You can soak rusty metal in any sort of acid and it'll remove the rust. EvapoRust's claim to fame is that it doesn't attack the base metal. It'll eat the rust, get rid of it, but then it just stops there. It doesn't continue to eat into the metal. If you do that with muriatic acid or vinegar or anything like that, it'll eat the rust, and then when it's done eating the rust, it'll start eating the metal, and that's what we don't want. So, 379 grams. Now you might be asking, why am I doing all this to begin with when I have gallons of EvapoRust sitting in the cabinet behind me? Because in the future, I anticipate needing a lot of EvapoRust, like 50 gallons or more. And although I can afford to buy a gallon of EvapoRust, I cannot afford to buy 50 gallons of EvapoRust. And I don't think CRC is going to give me 50 gallons of EvapoRust, so I am exploring my options here. This may take a while to get all this to incorporate. This is warm water that I'm using, hopefully giving it the greatest chance of dissolving. Okay, I think we've got that pretty well all in solution. I don't see any more powder. Let's get our next ingredient here, which is going to be the baking soda. So we need 239 grams of this. Okay, now this we have to add slowly because it's going to react. That's kind of fun. Okay, so there's our concoction. And next thing we do is add just a little bit of Dawn dishwashing detergent. Reduces the surface tension. It's a surfactant, I think they call it. It doesn't actually say how much to add, it just says to taste. It reduces the surface tension, I assume, to get the liquid in contact with your rusty parts. I've got a project where I need to make covers for the ride tubs. There are people right now that are going to say, don't worry about that, now get the big stuff done. But here's the problem I have. The next big thing that I need to do is to build the tubs for the ride. We need 4 more of them. I don't have any place to store them. And if they're stored outside, I need some way to cover them. So it makes sense to me anyways to make the covers first so that I have them ready. So when the ride tubs are done, they can just go outside and sit there all covered up. I figure they're just going to snap to the sides of the cars. And I started looking around for a tool to install snaps or grommets. So I started looking at what do the pros use, and I came across this tool right here. This is a press and snap made by the Hoover Company. Problem with this tool is it's really expensive, but I did find this one on eBay for a decent price, so I ended up buying it. Now this tool has changeable dies that you put in here depending if you're doing snaps or grommets. There's a whole selection of different dies, and this actually came with a selection. The problem is that they are rusted up and I need to de-rust them. Hopefully it doesn't hurt the aluminum. Now I have some other rusty parts. I think we're going to put them in here just to see what happens. Let's get that in first. Rusty pair of welding channel locks. Put those in as well. I'm going to put a cover on these just so they don't evaporate too much. Okay, well, now we wait. Okay, it's been about an hour and 15 minutes here. It's definitely changing color. Yeah, it's working super nice. Stanley number 21. Couldn't even read that before. Okay, we'll put these back in. The vice grips still need quite a bit of work. This is aluminum, so it doesn't need to go back in. The rest of these parts... Oops, sorry. I think that's good until tomorrow. Well, it's the next day, and we're going to get these parts out of here and see what they look like. Use our magnet here. I'm just going to put all of them down in this container so we can go and wash them off. Those are looking pretty good. Yep. Let's go and rinse all this stuff off, and I will be right back. The ruler is probably the most incredible transformation out of all these pieces. And I figured we'd be able to get the rust off of it, but I didn't think we'd be able to see the engraving after we did that. But this is still in really good shape. I got the rubber rings off of these, and they've revealed more rust underneath, which I'm not surprised about. But so I think I'm going to put these two back into the bath. Now this ended up taking the silver paint off of these vice grips, and to be honest, I didn't know they had silver paint on them. I thought that was just the metal finish. I'm going to put these two pieces back in. Let them soak for a while. And we're going to take these in the house and get the stickiness off of them. That's one thing I've noticed, is that this stuff leaves a sticky residue. Alright, so we got this all cleaned up and put back together, and we have all of our dies cleaned up as well. These rubber rings are very hard and brittle. They're designed to hold the snaps in place on the dies. So I went and I ordered new ones of those, and I also figured out which of the dies we were missing, because we were missing one. So now we have the full set. So we have the dies for doing the grommets, and then we have the dies for doing both sides of the snaps. And then these new rings go on the upper halves of the dies. There's that one. Yeah, those are correct. And we're going to be doing the snap side. So we need these guys. This is garbage, so we'll throw these away. So now we've got a really nice snap tool for a fraction of what this would have cost new, for just a little bit of cleanup work and replacing some parts that had worn out. So I'm pretty happy with that.
And now for something completely different.
All right, so I'm hoping this is going to be a quick little project here. I've got a 15mm deep well socket chucked up in the lathe here, and I'm going to take a skim cut off of it. Alright, I think that's good enough. Let's figure out what we're... just a little over 800. Yeah, what I want to chuck up next is this guy. Good enough for what I have planned. Let's see where we're at with this thing. And it looks pretty good right there, right? I think that might be it. Alright, now we need to cut this off. I wonder if I should try my cutoff tool again. That seemed to work pretty well. Did I miss that? I missed the whole thing, didn't I? Well, it worked. Okay, once again we are breaking out the green Loctite. Hopefully that'll do the job for us. Let that sit for a while and give it a try. I really dislike this handle. It's awkward to use and always falling on my toes. I'm going to keep it around because if I really need to reef down on something, I'll have it. But I think for most operations, the wheel is going to handle the job. All right, I think I want to try this tool out. And in order to do that, I've gone ahead and I've ordered some fabric as well as the snaps I need to do that. So maybe we'll just cut a little piece of this off as a sample. That should be enough. So we're going to use a snap that screws in to the side of the ride car, and then the top piece here will go on the fabric. This tool will apparently make its own hole, so we don't have to punch a hole in advance. And my understanding is the cap is supposed to be held captive in this rubber piece here, and then this snaps onto there. We'll just take this fabric and fold it in half. This here. So it'll be interesting to see how this works. A little squeeze. Well, seems to be on there. There's our snap. Yeah. All right, so that seemed to go pretty well. Okay. Those are ready to use. So, as you can see behind me, I've started gathering supplies for the next phase of this project, and I've determined that I can probably make about 50 gallons of this solution for about $120, which seems pretty reasonable to me. Unfortunately, with winter coming, it's probably going to be until the spring until we can actually get to using any of this stuff. But if you don't want to miss it when it happens, be sure to click that link to the left and come along for the ride.